Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy T for 365 Horror Vlog, the channel where we attempt to watch every single horror movie in existence. And in today's video, we have another one of our review videos for you, and we are going to get into that right now. Now, we are going to get right into the review, but before we do, I've got to remind you guys to please like, subscribe, hit the bell, do all that good stuff. Really helps the channel out. And with that, let's get into Skinamarink. Two children wake up in the middle of the night to find their father is missing, and all the windows and doors in their home have vanished. It is directed by Kyle Edward Ball. This movie stars Jamie Hill, Lucas Paul, and Ross Paul. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the scare factor when I talk about this movie, and this movie actually packed a pretty good scare to it. The tension was high, and you really were on the edge of your seat for a lot of the movie. I do have to warn people that it has a very weird art style, so I could see it being like very polarizing, whether or not you liked it or hated it. I'm just gonna say that right off the bat because when you watch it, they almost put this grain over it and it's very apparent. It could kind of be jarring for some people. Either way though, they have a lot of slow pans where they kind of stare off into the darkness, and they also follow it up with some very acute, loud jump scares. So you really get these very loud, tingy jump scares as you're staring deep into these black, slow moving almost shots. So you really find yourself just waiting for something to happen. Now, with that being said, I wish it was a little bit more prevalent in this movie. A lot of it time you do end up just sitting there kind of staring into the darkness, but I guess then the jump scares, when they do come, they wouldn't be as effective in the movie. So with that being said, I will say that this movie had a pretty good level of tension. Next, I'm going to talk about the creep factor, and this movie is a little bit creepy, only because, like I said, you are kind of staring into the darkness a lot, and it makes you kind of stare into your own darknesses, although it was just not climactic enough, unfortunately. I was a little bit creeped out. I can't say I wasn't, but it's just so slow paced and slow moving that it's just hard to really get into the vibe. Full caveat, when I watch these movies, I do like to try to watch them in the dark and try to kind of create an atmosphere where it would scare me, because some people kind of complain movies aren't scary or creepy, but then they're watching them like in the daytime with 10 friends. Like, of course you're not going to be creeped out, right? You got to kind of try to create the mood. And so it did kind of have a little bit of creep to it. I will say, when I went to bed that night, I woke up in the middle of the night for some reason, and my door was open, and I just kind of found myself kind of staring into the blackness. I don't know if I was fully expecting to see something, but that is something that kind of stuck with me for a minute. I didn't really have to do anything. I just kind of turned over and went back to sleep though, so it didn't affect me like as deep as I wanted it to. Touching on the gore of this movie, there wasn't really any gore of note. There wasn't really any gore at all. If you are squeamish, you're safe with this movie for sure. Next, I'm going to talk about the characters, and that's kind of where this movie starts to fall apart, unfortunately. The character work is very weird. You don't really see many characters, and I did find the audio was very disjointed from the movie. It was hard to understand, and it kind of gave a creepy overtone, but just the dialogue, like, I get it, we were kind of watching like what must have been toddlers. I think one of the kids in the movie says he's only 4, and you can tell just by the way they communicate. But it's not in the best way. It almost just leaves you more confused. There isn't enough acting for me to critique it because you just don't see enough character work or characters at all, but I would say that it is kind of a negative to the movie. It makes the movie meander even more. Lastly, I'm going to talk about the story. The story was interesting. It kind of had an interesting premise, you know, kids waking up in the middle of the night and all the doors and windows are missing in the house, and then all these weird things start to happen. There is some kind of creepy overtone to it, but they just took way too long to get to it. Plenty of the time, especially in some of those creepy moments, I kind of just wish they would get on with it. Like, what are you trying? Like, what is the exact narrative you're trying to tell us? Although the story is very obscure, I did get the overarching narrative, and I don't think I was confused by the movie, but I just wish it kind of offered me a little bit more. For a final score of this movie, I am going to give it a 2.1, so not exactly one that I would hardcore recommend people to watch unless you're a diehard like me and just have to watch everything. I will say again that this movie had some good creepy tension, and it did have a decent scare factor and creepiness to it. It's just the story was way too meandering and took way too long. It felt way too anticlimactic, and I do feel like if you are not ready for like a very weird art style, you are just not going to enjoy this movie at all. Well guys, that's going to do it for another one of our reviews on 365 Horror Vlog. I hope you liked this content, and if you did, please like, subscribe, hit the bell, do all that good stuff. Also, if you want to, let me know what you thought of this movie. I'm dying to kind of hear it because, like I said, I have a feeling that this is is a very polarizing movie, so I kind of want to see, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I missed something. So if I did, let me know down in those comments, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.